If firms like ours and the companies and organizations we advise and the societies within which we function don't take a serious approach to the implementation of the goals, everything is at stake. That's why they're that important. I think we all realize, whether it is from climate change, from increased scarcity, from the challenges that we face organizationally within our workforce, within our profession, that business as usual is not sustainable. So if you don't rise to the challenge, the path forward would seem pretty dire.
Debevoise Plimpton is an international law firm with offices across the world devoted to both international and U.S. law.
We do see, as a leading international law firm, that we have responsibilities to the wider world in what we do, and that we need to keep that in mind as we go through our work, not just responsibilities to third parties, but also to the people we work with, stakeholders, clients, but also our employees.
If you think of it in three different ways, one is the responsibility that we as human beings or as citizens have to each other as members of a society. Another is the responsibility that professionals have towards the society from which they draw their living, particularly professionals in a service industry. And the third, I think, is a unique role that lawyers play because we are a special kind of service professional. We are asked by our clients to handle some of their most sensitive matters. The question of compliance with the rules that we all agree to live by, the laws, is one that we make our profession.
When you think about how to achieve greater diversity, of course, you need to have laws that don't discriminate against women. But even with all those basic foundational blocks, there still needs to be, the relentless education, self-awareness, and efforts on an individual basis for men and women to give opportunities, to make sure that we improve the odds of women developing to their full potential, one, and ultimately becoming leaders in whatever field or activity they choose.
So we have numerous women in leadership roles throughout the firm, including the senior chair of our firm, the heads of many of the departments of the firm, members of the management committee. That helps us both show our commitment to gender equality and encourage the young women who come into the firm to practice law and show them that they have a place in leadership as well. Debevoise does an enormous amount of pro bono work on the causes of gender equality throughout the country and around the world. To give a couple of recent examples, we have done work for the Centre for Reproductive Rights in helping to challenge Northern Ireland's criminal abortion laws. We've done a lot of work on behalf of women inmates of New York State prisons who are facing sexual abuse by guards. We really dedicate a lot of our pro bono efforts to trying to give back to the broader society and advance causes for women.
An important aspect of promoting decent work and creating opportunities for everyone is to make sure, among other things, that everyone's on a playing field. I think impact investing has, on the corporate context, you're trying to help our clients deploy capital on projects that have a positive impact in areas which have a bit of more of an economic distress. A big part of the business integrity practice is to help our clients conduct due diligence on anti-corruption issues, on potential violation of economic sanctions, fair labor practices, and try to really help them identify for a particular investment they're looking at, is this the right type of investment you want to be associated with?
Private equity has a number of very powerful tools to bring to emerging markets when it comes to sustainable development there. And the leading tools that they bring are significant pools of capital that may be difficult for local businesses that are in growth mode to raise directly from both local and regional investors. That also comes combined with a both operating and financial expertise that draws on of leading business executives and financial and investment professionals from the top investment firms.
CD&R is a private equity firm, and we invest in a portfolio of companies and work with them to improve their operations. Debevoise are our legal partner of choice, and we work with them across the globe as we diligence these companies, acquire these companies, and then even through the life of the businesses with us. We also focus very squarely amongst various aspects on the ESG agenda or status of the acquired company. ESG, or environmental, social and governance excellence, is absolutely crucial to value creation. Why does it create value? Well, as far as the environmental side is concerned, sustainability is all about doing more with less. It's about using less power to make products, using less water, basically using less resources. And if you do that, it's good for the environment, but it's great for the business because you are more efficient.
Right now we're working on the tail end of a fundraising for a firm that's putting together a private equity buyout fund to invest predominantly in Brazil. They invest in a number of different industry verticals, including retail, consumer, and healthcare.
This is a crucially important goal for the world. I think the role of law, the role of dispute resolution in maintaining peace, in resolving disputes in a peaceful way is critical. And the International Court of Justice, what's often known colloquially as the World Court, because that's what it is an important component of that. We've recently been involved, for example, with a sharp dispute that has arisen between Qatar and 3 of its neighbours, involving air rights, involving expulsions, involving restrictions on what people can do. And to be able to do that through a neutral, objective court like the World Court, the International Court of Justice, is a very important way of adding to the sustainability goals by resolving these disputes peacefully.
Having a peaceful, just society is the cornerstone, frankly, of public international law, because it's all centered around the international rule of law. It's the belief that our legal systems, the kinds of rules that we think are universal, are what govern the peaceful settlement of disputes. And of course, peace is the cornerstone of the SDG process. And so at Debevoise, the kinds of cases that we bring in are all about how to advise our clients, and in most cases there's our countries that are grappling with really sensitive disputes about their boundaries, about human rights treatments, about anything you could think of in terms of the modern world order. And the idea is to advise them within a system of international law and dispute settlement that allows them to resolve these disputes peaceably.
Debevoise has always been very devoted to public service and to that kind of outside work. I was very pleased to be able to serve as president of the International Bar Association for 2 years. During those 2 years, I did a lot of work in promoting business and human rights, training lawyers on the UN GPs and their own individual responsibilities to promote business and human rights. I also worked a lot in fighting judicial corruption around the world. Whenever there is judicial corruption any place in the world, lawyers are inevitably involved. So I felt that lawyers have a particular responsibility to build judicial institutions in a manner that can best prevent judicial corruption.
I think that for sustainability development goals to be achieved, what has to happen is for not just the objectives, but the means to achieve them to be incorporated into everyday life.
Lawyers can be role models. I think because of the disputes that we deal with, it's important that we carry through important principles in the work that we do.
I think a lawyer needs to be a wise counselor these days, thinking not only about violations of particular statutes or regulations, but the broader risks that any client may face.
You help people solve problems, whether you're dealing with it from the point of view of being a defense lawyer who's helping people put forward their defense so that they can be judged in a fair and objective way, or whether it's resolving disputes between countries or between companies. That, for me, is at the heart of this job.
There are very few jobs and careers where you can make your mark and make a difference, and law is one of those.